the perhaps impossible goal of achieving world peace. Hey guys, welcome to the Alexander Bitar History channel. My name is Alexander Bitar and we're doing this in collaboration with Metropole Stockholm. As you can see, I have a very big box in front of me. This is a beautiful, elegant presentation box. And why wait? Let's look what it is inside. These are 3 framed documents, all in the same colors, which makes it again a very elegant box. As this is a very long handwritten manuscript, it's important to keep the order intact. So this is the first part of the manuscript, this is the second part, and this is the third and also the last one. This is a truly incredible and highly remarkable manuscript written in full by Albert Einstein, and it contains 2 of his lifelong missions. Number 1, research in astrophysics, and number 2, the perhaps impossible goal of achieving world peace. Einstein, who was opposed Hitler and Nazi party, he became a US citizen in the year 1940. That's approximately 20 years after he received the Nobel Prize in Physics. And in 1940, at that time, he was a true star, one of the most famous people in the world. So becoming a US citizen was truly a prestige move for the Americans. On June 22, 1940, Einstein attended a radio interview in which he asked to speak about his viewpoints about world peace. The manuscript in question is a draft to that radio interview. On the first page we also have the year 1940 written in an unknown hand, but that also indicates that this was indeed from 1940. And listening to the radio interview, we see so many sentences that are alike in this manuscript. So by all means, this is the draft for that radio interview. So let's dig into the manuscript, and let's begin with the first page. Einstein begins by writing, and I'm quoting, "The League of Nations has failed because it wasn't based on the fact that its founding states would abandon parts of their sovereignty, and furthermore because it lacked kind of executive power. A world state, also a great power, is capable of securing peace only if its consulting member states turn over all the power to the one state." And to clarify, the League of Nations was founded in 1920, 2 years after the First World War, and the main purpose was to prevent the Second World War happening. But as we know, it did happen in 1939. Einstein continues by writing, "I'm convinced that an international political organization is not only possible but unconditionally necessary if the situation on our planet should not eventually become unbearable for humans." Einstein is referring to nationalism as a key factor to war. He wants people to, instead of think of their own country individually, he wants them to think universally as one team instead of individual players. Then Einstein writes, "The securing of distribution of raw material and free access to the market outlets would naturally be one of the most important functions of an international order." And that is his way to say that everything should be fair. No individual countries should get an opportunity that the other ones shouldn't. However, Einstein writes, "To directly influence political events, one must have the talent to be able to directly influence the actions of human beings." And this is really Einstein's way of telling us how important it is to have a strong leader. As I said, this is from 1940, and at that time, Hitler had a control in Germany, and many say that he did that due to his strong leadership. So Einstein is the first to recognize strong leadership. And lastly, Einstein tells us about the importance of teamwork. Nobody will disagree, he writes, that we presently are further away from our goal than we've been 10 years ago. This wouldn't have been happening if the democratic states would have demonstrated their willingness to sacrifice and their solidarity they are showing now in times of distress. Willingness to sacrifice, solidarity, and wise foresight proved to be extremely effective when the time of distress has not come yet. In other words, he informs us how states aren't rational during crisis, and who can blame them? With that said, I think it's fair to say that this is one of the most interesting Albert Einstein manuscripts in existence, because this is truly his way of explaining to us how we can achieve world peace. Again, it's not an easy task, but everything is possible. And if you follow these guidelines, which in a way the United Nations are based on, then we could maybe live in a peaceful world. And to his credit, since the United Nations was founded in 1945, we haven't seen a third world war yet. So many things here, I would say, are truly rational and very correct. Talking about the authenticity of this piece, obviously it's no doubt that this is handwritten by Albert Einstein in full. I have 2 independent third-party letters to state that these are indeed authentic. And when it comes to the value, well, that's very difficult, because there are quite a few Albert Einstein manuscripts on the market. However, there are not many that are of this high caliber. We have seen some impressive sales. Last year in 2021, one manuscript sold for $1.2 million, which featured the EMC2 formula. And in the same year, one relativity document handwritten by Albert Einstein sold for $13 million in Paris. So money-wise, it's very difficult to put a price tag, but since this is truly high-end, the sky is the limit, to be honest. If you ask me, I'd say that Einstein is indeed the most important human being of the 20th century. He is by far the most famous and influential scientist of all time. And his name, his legacy will grow year by year. We've seen it since he passed in 1955, and I'm sure we will see it for so many years further on. So, is this a good investment? Yes. This is as good as it can be. And again, it's so incredible to see such an important piece with this incredible peace content. It's relevant today, it will always be relevant. And guys, with that said, please, if you enjoy this, like this, comment, subscribe. I will answer any comments we get personally. And until next time, take care.